has a very strong influence on people on how it's used. How you say words to someone can greatly affect the meaning, like in tone and register. And in George Orwell's short essay, Politics in the English Language, he expresses his disgust at how the language is being used in writing. And he says, the writer either has a meaning and cannot express it, or inadvertently says something else, or he is almost indifferent as to whether his words mean anything or not. This mixture of vagueness and sheer incompetence is the most marked characteristic of modern English prose, and especially of any kind of political writing. As soon as certain topics are raised, the concrete melts into the abstract, and no one seems to think of turns of speech that are not hackneyed. Prose consists of less and less of words chosen for the sake of their meaning, and more phrases tacked together like the sections of a prefabricated henhouse. So by saying this, he brings politics into it, as in politicians often manipulate language in different ways to get certain meanings across and convince their audiences that they should accept what they're saying as a general rule, and to try to convince them like what they're saying is right. They do this by using several different tools to manipulate language. These include nominalization, which, as an example, we would say, "I'm going to lead you to success." In nominalization, the speaker turns a noun into a verb, a verb into a noun. So they say success. So success could mean different things to a lot of different people. For one person, it could be wealth or having a successful family, being successful in work. So by saying, "I'm going to lead you to success," they leave it open for interpretation by the audience. So the audience could think of it for each different person. They could see it in a different way, and it covers a large range of people. In general, they'll think, "Oh, success, that's what I want." They see it from their eyes, and they consider it that way. Universal language would be a sentence like, "I will improve the job market for everyone." The speaker uses an all-encompassing word like everyone or the whole nation to include everyone in the generalization of the sentence, but in reality, there's no way they can improve the job market for everyone. For example, children aren't going to have jobs. If you have a job in a certain field like technology, and they're improving the job market in industry, that's not necessarily going to mean they improve the market for everyone. So in reality, they're probably going to improve the job market for some people, and although they say for everyone, it's not going to end up that way. Another common tool for manipulating language is a modal operator, and they would say something like, "If we want to improve the country, we have to move forward." For this, they use words like "have to," or "you must," or "we ought to indicate urgency, to try to convince the audience or who they're speaking to that the action needs to be taken now. They try to pressure them into voting for them or doing whatever they need them to do, as if they didn't do it right now, that would just make the situation worse. By putting the pressure on the audience, they better convince them that they need to take action and move forward without allowing them to think very deeply into it and consider the consequences or effects that they might have if they act at that moment. Another kind of way they manipulate language is by mind reading, and they'll say something like, "I know how the country feels about the government." By saying, "I know how this person thought," or "I know how you feel," the speaker acts as if they know the audience, or they know someone that they know the thoughts that like a big figure had, so they can relate to the audience, or they can relate to that person, making the audience feel as if like, oh, they really understand like my needs, or they understand what this person thought. That means they must be, they must know what they're doing, and it gives the audience faith in them. even though they might actually have no idea, they have no evidence to back up that, yes, I really do know how you're feeling, and this is why. One of the most common things they do is use unspecified verbs, which would say something like, the actions I take will be to improve this community for its citizens, this country for its citizens. And by doing this, they say or they promise that they're gonna do something to fix something, or they're taking action to do a certain thing, but they never really describe what action they're going to take or how they're going to do it. They convince the audience that what they're going to do will solve all the problems without saying what it is they'll be doing, the steps they'll take, and how they will be effective. So it tries to give the audience faith that they're going to fix things, but they never really explain just how they'll do that. This is a politician, and this is one of his ads, and he has several, well, he actually has all of these different tools of manipulation.
I'm Dale Peterson. I've been a farmer, a businessman, a cop, a Marine, so listen up. It's time to throw out the thugs and criminals who've been stomping all over our Constitution and destroying our economy. It's time to get everyone to the polls and start winning elections, taking back the House and the Senate, and elect conservative governors. And it's time to hit the left with a strong right. Our country's broke, living on borrowed time and borrowed money. Democrats have got their economy in a tailspin, so they don't give a rip about America. You know, what comes after a trillion anyway? We need something we can do that's affordable, powerful, something that everyone can do. In this business, it's really not money that counts, it's votes. Lots of votes, and that's our currency. It's time to back our trucks up to the voting booths and shift into offense formation. Here's the game plan. We have to move on 3 fronts: air, land, sea. Pick up the phone and call registered Republicans, independents, and conservatives, and tell them to vote November the 2nd. And tell them to call people. Let's register conservative voters by going door to door, to youth events. Let's get the young people involved. Go fishing in conservative waters, like senior centers, fairs, churches, gun stores and shows, and the military. Email registration forms to like-minded folks in your circle. Get them to do the same. If we all do a little, it'll add up, and it'll spread like wildfire. Air, land, and sea. Get your hat. It's time to roll.
Is this for real?
Okay, I see a couple of people laughing. This guy was 100% serious. He actually ran in 2010 for some position, like he was trying to get something from the Senate. I'm not entirely sure what, in the agricultural department. But he was entirely serious. Like, that's a real political ad. But anyway, he uses normalization when he says it's time to throw out the thugs and the criminals. Obviously, he just says we're going to throw them out. He turns a verb back into a noun. He doesn't say what we're going to do with them or who the thugs and criminals are. He just plans on getting rid of them. He doesn't really say where he's going to throw them to, who exactly they are, why they need to be gone, or what they're doing. In universal language, he says it's time to get everyone to the polls, which he says the word everyone, which obviously children can't vote. He says everyone, so there are going to be Democrats as well as conservatives going to the polls. So this might not actually benefit him to get everyone to the polls, but there's no way everyone is a registered voter or anything. So by saying everyone, he tries to bring together a sense of community to get all the people on his side, or the conservatives, to vote. In modal operators, he says we have to move on 3 fronts. He says, of course, he indicates the urgency by saying we have to, and we have to move on all 3 fronts if we want to get this, and he lists them as air, land, and sea, to try to convince them to get everyone to vote conservative. That's what he means. So he indicates urgency by saying we have to. Mind reading, he says, Democrats have got their economy in the tailspin, so they don't give a rip about America. Now, obviously, Dale Peterson is not a Democrat, but he says, he is saying this quote from the Democratic perspective and saying he knows that they don't give a rip about America when there's no way he can really know this, and he's just kind of making an assumption to convince all the people that to not vote Democrat because they don't care, even though there's no way or evidence that he actually knows this and he knows that they don't care. And he uses unspecified verbs and saying, we need something we need something we can do that's affordable, powerful, something that everyone can do. The whole entire video, he's trying to convince everyone to vote conservative for and vote for him because he's going to make a change. But he never once brings up what he's going to do to make that change. He says we need something we can do, but he never says what it is that he's going to do or what the people need to do. He just says something needs to be done without ever specifying. So, in conclusion, language, the use of language can have a very strong influence in changing tone or register or clarity of your words or using any of these like manipulative tools. You can effectively present different topics and try to convince people in different ways. And George Orwell argues that this is a bad thing. He's disgusted by the way that people begin to express language, and he argues that being simpler is better, and in a way it is better for everyone. For politicians, it's better to kind of corrupt language in this way because they're able to kind of convince more people and make better arguments for themselves and claim things even if they don't mean them or can't back them up, which a lot of people do believe. But George Orwell says by simplifying language it would be better. And obviously it would be for a lot of people because they wouldn't have politicians trying to lie to them and everything. But it can be effective and for the right people.